Hello and welcome to another episode of Casual Potato series with iChanbot with the game Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. As you can see today, I brought you my new Aromages deck, which I have been enjoying a lot playing, especially lately after I got already King of Games for the 19th season on the ladder. I just tried it out this deck yesterday on stream and we had a winning streak, I think about 6 or 7 wins in a row, which proved this deck to be pretty strong even on KOG level. I don't think that this deck can beat Koakimeri right now, which is like a tier 0 deck in the meta, but it is possible to beat all the other decks we have seen on the ladder. So it's possible to beat other synchro summons, it's possible to beat stall, to beat heroes and whatsoever you can face on Legend and Platinum. So you can definitely use this deck to get off Platinum and in Legend. I don't know if this is the right deck right now to get to reach King of Games, but you definitely can get out of Legend 1 and Legend 2 with it if you are if you're a little lucky and don't break too often. So let's get to the core of this deck, which is the Junk Synchron and the skill What Grows in the Graveyard. Because the Junk Synchron is summoned to the field, gives you the ability to summon a level 2 or lower monster from your graveyard. And with the skill What Grows in the Graveyard, you always have from the start of the duel, one level 2 monster in your graveyard, which is Dark Veger, which will be special summoned with the Junk Synchron to the field if you activate it and say yes, so click yes for win. And then you have the possibility to choose between the Aromages Rosemary, which is a strong aroma monster, but this one will get stronger and more buffed depending on when you have the Aroma Garden on the field and if you have a second aroma monster on the field. So Aromages Rosemary is pretty situational and it can enable deadly combinations like deadly wombo combos, but it's not usually the first card you should summon. Usually when you summon a synchron monster, you should go with the Armades first, especially if your opponent has strong back row, because Armades suppress the back row and doesn't let them activate it until the end of your damage step. So it's that if this card is attack, your opponent can activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step, which means not only traps cannot be activated once you are in the battle phase, but also cards effect like for example Wind Koribos or Snowman doesn't work against Armades. Yeah, that is pretty interesting to know about Armades. You should definitely try it out. It's a strong card. And if it gets buffed too with the Aroma Garden spell, it's even very strong. It's like 2800 then instead of 2-3. So this was the core of this deck. For the milling environment, for the aroma feeling, make this deck complete. I have other Aromage cards in combination with Aromage Garden. You have Jasmine, for example, which is a very helpful card to mill out your deck, especially when you have card like Aroma Garden or Draining Shield. So every time you get the heal, either on your turn through Aroma Garden, its effect, by pressing on it, you gain 500 life points, and not only your monsters will be buffed then, but also when a monster gets destroyed, you get another LP. So as long as your Jasmine is on the field and you get somehow a heal from Aroma Garden or the Draining Shield, you can mill card. It says once per turn, if you gain life points, draw a card, which means during enemies' turn and during your own turn, you can get cards if this card survives on the field face up, which is not that easy, but it is possible. So, and if your life point is higher than your opponent, you can normal summon one plant type monster in addition to your normal summon set. So the typical combination would be summoning Aromage Jasmine into face up attack position, then use the Aromage Garden to heal up, and then your you would be able to get a second card. Let's hope that is, for example, Rosemary, Aromage Rosemary, which can be special summoned to the field because of the effect of Aromage Jasmine, since your life point is higher. Yeah, and then if you are somehow able to use the Aromages Garden effect on both of those cards, you can put the effect from Aromage Rosemary to target one face-up monster and change its attack position. You can use it also on your Aromage Jasmine and put it into defense position, which will be after the buff by the Aromage Garden, about 2400, I think. Yeah, which is pretty busted, and then this is how this card survives until the end of the next turn. And also, if the Aromage Jasmine lands into your graveyard, you can resummon it with the Giant Synchron together to synchro summon a level 5 monster. And yeah, that's basically the milling card, or the draw engine of this deck here. Then for the Rosemary, I put it actually into here as a safety card, 2 copies of it to special summon the Bergamot after you have put this card into your graveyard somehow by setting it and letting it get destroyed from your opponent, or tribute summoning it if you have already the the Jasmine outside, and you can special summon, for example, a Bergamot in a turn to tribute it for the Rose Lover, if the Rose Lover is on the field already. And yeah, that's basically it. Do not forget that the Aromage Rosemary, when it's face up on the field and you are getting a heal through Aroma Garden or some of the Draining Shield or the Solemn Wishes, which I use, you can also go with a Golden Buck or something else if you like to exchange it. If you don't feel safe with Solemn Wishes, use the Golden Bug, because the Solemn Wishes can get destroyed, for example, by Galaxy Cyclone or some kind of removal for your back row trap cards. But if you have the Golden Ladybug on hand, yeah, cannot be destroyed. You definitely get 500 life points each turn. Depends on how you want to play it. And sometimes it's also helpful to run this deck with one Kuribo. Depends on your own play style. For the Rosemary Aromage, as mentioned before, do not forget, if this card is face up on the field and you get some kind of healing, you have to turn one card on the table, like change its attack position, like from defense to attack or from attack to defense, which means if Rosemary Aromage is the only card you have on the field because your opponent doesn't have a card right then at the moment on the field, you have to turn your own Aromage Rosemary into defense position, which is pretty fucked up because the defense is very low and this card would get easily destroyed by your opponent's monster. What makes this card complete, I think, is the Ancient Fairy Dragon, because you will also have the possibility that you get out a Rosemary Aromage and a Giant Synchron, and in that case you can summon the Ancient Fairy Dragon, which also will help you heal and also help you stall because it has very strong defense. You can basically destroy your own Aroma Garden field spell and get a healing for it through the Ancient Fairy Dragon spell here, as you can see. Blah blah blah. Once per turn, you can destroy as many field spell cards on the field as possible, so your own and the one of your opponent gain 1000 life point. Then you can add one field spell card from your deck to your hand, so you can mill out another Aroma Garden and just applicate it, but you can at the same time destroy the field spell of your opponent, which is, for example, very helpful against vampires. Because of the Vampire Kingdom, you can get rid of it, thanks God. Yeah, and I think this is the main core about this deck, how it works. I put into Canadias just to negate the monsters which are summoned to the field by the opponent, because sometimes you just brick and then you don't have the cards you actually need to pull off your wombo combo, and in that case, it means you have to survive until you get all the cards you need to your hand. Alright, yeah. And the Draining Shield is for healing, as well as the Solemn Wishes, which can be exchanged for Golden Buck. And also you can maybe exchange one of the Canadias for Kuribo if you like to, depends on how you want to play it. Armades effect I have explained before. Rosemary, I have to explain it a little more in detail, because the Rosemary is very how to say, it depends on the conditions under where you summon it. So just assume you can pull out an Aroma Garden on the field and Rosemary and a second whatever Aromage monster, then the Rosemary is very strong because you will buff your own you will buff your other Aromage card by 500 attack, as here described, And once per turn, if you gain life points, target one face-up card your opponent controls. That face-up card has its effect negated until the end of this turn, which is also very powerful. So when Aroma Garden is out, you can somehow special summon the Aromaseraphy Rosemary and have a second Aromage card on the field. Both cards gets buffed by 1,000 points. Yeah, because the Aroma Garden gives plus 500 and the Rosemary gives plus 500, which makes a plus 1,000. And in the ultimate Wombo combo case, you have a Bergamot on the field and the Rosemary and the Aroma Garden, and then you are basically unstoppable unless your opponent has some kind of very fierce or a Sphered Kariba or very fierce back row, because the Bergamot will be buffed into infinity. Then the Bergamot gets plus 1,000 attack and defense until the end of the turn if you gain life points, which is ensured by the Aroma Garden. And it gets plus 500 attack from the Aroma Garden and plus 500 attack from the Rosemary, Aromaseraphy Rosemary, which makes this card, I don't know, 2,400 plus 500 plus 1,000 plus 500, so it's over 4,000 attack points. I haven't been able to pull off this combination until today, but I have seen the Bergamot already summoned with 3,900 attack points, and that is already a lot, because even a Blue Eyes can't get over that busted plant. Yeah, that busted plant monster there. Alright, now I have expressed all my positive feelings towards this really fun deck. Just enjoy the replay and the winning streak I had yesterday on the ladder with it on King of Games level. Thank you and see you next time. I'm sorry I couldn't turn on the webcam for today, but it will return when I'm healthy again. So see you guys. Bye bye.